Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's third and final video. We're going to have a look at weather for the next 10 to 14 days for today's final video. Day 10 will take us to the 29th of December and we'll be able to extend out beyond that with the extended GFS and ECM ensembles. May run throughout a couple of weeks. We'll have a look at the CFS B2 at the end of the video. The next 4 weeks, that gets us well into January. And I shall get on with that for you in a moment. Just to say that the first video today was our 6 AM upload. And we've also released the 15th installment of the Christmas Countdown. So please check out those 2 videos if you'd like to do that. Like, share, subscribe on vids. Thank you so very much, everybody, for doing that. We're going to be live streaming at 8 PM this evening. We'll have a look at 12 then, and we'll do Ensembles Watch. Ensembles Watch is on its way back. Ensembles Watch for Christmas and New Year. As well as a detailed look at the 12Z. So that will be coming up tonight from 8 PM. I shall see you live then. Before I do anything else, I'm going to say thank you so much to a couple of people who gave me a donation before I went to New York. I'm very late doing this, but I want to give a shout out to Kate Lloyd and also to Adam Chapman. Kate Lloyd, Adam Chapman, thank you so much to Kate and to Adam for the donation that you gave to me and to GavsWeatherVids through PayPal before I went to NYC. I am very behind catching up with everything. I'm so sorry it's taken me so long to give you your shout outs, but there we go. Hopefully I've made up for it. Thank you so much for your support and for your donations, Kate and Adam. Thank you so much. Got more to do this week, so we'll be doing more shout outs for people as the week goes on. So yeah, you know, there are going to be more shout outs to come. Thank you so much, Kate and Adam. I'm also going to say hello to Tony Evans. Hi, Tone. GavsWeatherVids viewer from Llandudno, I think, over there in Wales. I know Tone wasn't expecting this little mention. I've been chatting with Tony's brother-in-law, my good friend Paul. And you know, I was told that Tony is a big fan of GavsWeatherVids. So hello to Tony Evans, and thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you've been enjoying the content, Tone. Right, well, shall we crack on with the vid then? Here we go. Why not? Let's have a look then. I'm going to start off with VCT. Now, I don't think this is updated yet. I am a little bit earlier doing it today because I've got a busy afternoon. I'm going to Northampton. Do some last minute Christmas shopping this afternoon. I'm cutting it fine now on 19th of December. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. But anyway, so up to the 17th of December, we're at 0.4 degrees. As you start lifting up from today onwards, I'll bring you up to date with the latest CT tomorrow. These are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles. The next couple of weeks, we're going to Edinburgh today. So red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Edinburgh. Very mild at the moment, of course, but we see that the upper air temperatures are on the decline as we go through the Christmas period into the closing days of December, getting colder there. Remember, this is in Edinburgh, so if we get northerly winds, it's going to be one of the more exposed places compared to London, for example, but nevertheless, it does also, particularly the northern half of the country, might get some cold weather around and after Christmas. Heading into the new year, it does look as though the upper air temperatures are staging a recovery and it's starting to get a little bit milder, but of course, that's a very long way off. It's over 2 weeks away. Precipitation-wise, going to be some showering conditions over the next day or two. Looks really unsettled just before Christmas. Heavy rain to come, like Friday into Christmas Eve. And as it gets colder, some of that could turn to snow, actually, for Edinburgh. Beyond that, we have a bit of a drying trend between Christmas and New Year as we go into a drier, colder spell. And then maybe back into unsettled weather again as we head into the beginning of January. Snow Row is looking like this. Quite impressive. Look at this. It looks like Edinburgh could well be on for a white Christmas. Goodness gracious me, that does look pretty good, doesn't it? And some very large spikes as well there, so might be too much snow maybe around Christmas period. That's like 23rd of December there, around 28th of December, and there is plenty going on in terms of snow road for Edinburgh. Let's go a bit further south to Birmingham. Doesn't look anywhere near as impressive there. However, there are some spikes that are left over for Birmingham around Christmas, like Christmas Eve to Boxing Day, and then perhaps a little bit more definitively after Christmas, just between Christmas and New Year. Then we start to see more in the way of snow spikes. I expect when we get to London, excuse me, it looks even less impressive. So very little chance of a white Christmas for London, seemingly, but there are some snow spikes beyond Christmas, between Christmas and the New Year. But definitely, like further north, it does look as though things would get really quite interesting this Christmas, and a white Christmas up there in Scotland maybe. We shall see. Temperature anomalies from the 19th to 27th of December. Going to be above average for England and Wales. Still cold average though for Scotland. Precipitation anomalies from the 19th to the 27th of December. Average to rather above average. Of course, if it's cold enough, some of that could turn to snow. Latest wind from that from earthnullschool.net shows that we've changed the wind direction today. Low pressure is in control of weather in the North Atlantic, and we're pulling up what looks like a mild or a very mild southerly to southwesterly wind. So, for the time being, mild air from the Atlantic is dominating the weather. Right, let's start going through chart data then. That's what you're waiting for. This time you can make your run. Looking for midnight on Thursday. Low pressure is in control of the weather then. And into Friday and Christmas Eve, low pressure remains dominant. We are bringing in some colder air into the north. So cold northerly winds pushing back towards Scotland. There is a weather front that's marking the boundary between milder air to the southwest and that colder air to the north. That will bring outbreaks of rain on the northern side of that weather front. Possibly a little bit of snow. Now, Christmas Day takes that low pressure eastwards and temporarily starts to bring down some colder air from the northwest by south iceberg, pushing southwards into Christmas Day. However, by Boxing Day, like Christmas night into Boxing Day, this low starting to drag milder air back up from the southwest again. So the cold air very quickly gets pushed away to the north. This is how Icon is looking. Again, low pressure brings wet and unsettled conditions through Thursday and into the end of the week as well. Deep area of low pressure, plenty of rain coming in back. Could be a little snow on the northern edge of that area of low pressure across Scotland. But low pressure clears away into Christmas Day. Colder air starts to move southwards. Down comes that -5 Celsius isotherm. But not for long. By the time you get through the Boxing Day, milder air starts to push back up from the south again, courtesy of this area of low pressure. It's going to bring more wet weather and send milder air back up from the south once more. We're not that far away from some very cold air, though, just around here. So was this low pressure, say the low pressure does something a little bit like that, eventually that might pull in some colder air from the north. Now, this is how the GFS midnight run is looking. So, again, we find that low pressure is in control of the weather on Thursday and through into Friday and Saturday. Christmas Eve, low pressure again sitting over the country with spells of rain on the northern side of that low. It might be a little bit of snow into southern Scotland as colder air is digging in from the north and the northeast across Scotland. That low pressure then clears away to our east through into Christmas Day as colder air begins to push southwards. Down comes that -5 Celsius iceberg on Christmas Day. And unlike the UK Met and unlike Icon, the GFS midnight run then turns as cold from Christmas Day into Boxing Day, with winds pulling into the north. So we bring my 10 Celsius iceberg down into Scotland, bitterly cold air setting in there. And then we go off into a cold Christmas to New Year period with, again, my 10 Celsius iceberg making it all the way down into towards parts of northern England. By 27th of December. High pressure dominates weather, so mostly dry but cold as we go to the Christmas to New Year period. And this area of high pressure, there will be significant overnight frost and whatnot. Eventually, the midnight run starts to bring something a little bit milder back in from the Atlantic into early January. This is the precipitation forecast based on that GFS midnight run. So lots of wet to come over the next few days. Eventually, though, by the time we get through to the end of the week, we find a little bit of snow turning up there by Friday over Scotland. Notice a real deluge for England and Wales on Friday, very wet eve of Christmas Eve there. And as that rain pushes northwards, it turns to snow over some parts of Scotland, particularly high ground, but not necessarily exclusively so. That's Christmas Eve. Snow race more towards northern England, southern Scotland, maybe Northern Ireland then. Snow showers across the northern parts of Scotland. Excuse me once more. And some of that snow turns really quite heavy over parts of northern England as well on Christmas Eve. Into Christmas Day, snow focus on Northern Ireland, southwestern Scotland, possibly northwestern with snow showers through central and northern parts of Scotland. That looks like a real dump of snow, doesn't it, there over northern England on Christmas night. How exciting will that be? And then beyond that, of course, the high pressure takes over, so we begin to go drier. There's a little bit of snow for the west and the southwest. So 7th of December, and snow showers draped around the coast, but of course, high pressure in control now. So lots of dry weather, and that large area of high pressure with significant overnight frost. Right, well, if you thought that was an interesting GFS run, check this out. This is the 6th, and we start again very similar on Thursday. Low pressure bringing wet, windy weather in off the Atlantic through the end of the week and into Christmas Eve. Christmas Day takes that low pressure away to the east and starts to pull colder air in from the north and from the northeast. The upper air temperatures start to turn colder across Scotland and Northern Ireland on Christmas Day. And then into Boxing Day, we find, but again, we've got those winds in from the north and from the northwest. Cold air has pushed down into the south of England. We've got -10 Celsius iceberg through the northern half of the country. Bitterly cold air getting back into Scotland. And then we set up a prolonged and really quite serious cold spell between Christmas and New Year's. This 27th of December, again, we've got -10 Celsius iceberg through Scotland, but look at all that blocking there by 28th of December in the North Atlantic around Greenland, Iceland again. Winds are back in from the north and from the northeast, and eventually we start bringing in easterly winds as we get towards the end of December. So we've got -10 Celsius iceberg there in the North Sea. And as we pick up this easterly wind, especially across England and Wales, we start to move that bitterly cold air in from the east, and that will bring the snow showers in with it. So, you know, properly cold GFS 6Z run. Again, with both winds coming in from the east as we get towards the end of month, -10 Celsius iceberg pushing through the country with those bitter sort of easterly winds. Have a look at the upper air temperatures. You see that -10 Celsius iceberg just off the southeastern coast. So this is properly cold air, but we're drawing in there in the final stages of December, and certainly cold enough to bring snow showers to southern and eastern parts of the country. Then the high pressure goes back to the North Atlantic again, so we begin to reinforce the northerly. So after the easterlies between Christmas and New Year, then we get into the New Year, we start to wind back into the north once again, and that starts to drop some much colder air in from the north this time on those northerly winds into the opening days of January. -10 Celsius iceberg sweeping through the country there on those northerly, bitterly cold air with snow showers coming southwards on those northerly winds. Then low pressure begins to move in from the Atlantic into that cold air. That will probably deliver a snow event. That's how look as we get to the end of the GFS 6Z run. Low pressure over the country, no doubt that's bringing snow to many areas, and with this area of high pressure still blocking around Greenland and Iceland, as that low pushes away to the east, as it would inevitably do so, we will just pull wind back into the north and to the northeast again. Sort of classic negative Elio type scenario, high pressure around Greenland and Iceland, low pressure around the Azores. That is a prolonged and really quite severe cold spell that the GFS 6Z is setting up. No doubt a cold outlier, I'm sure it would be a cold outlier, but just goes to show what sort of patterns the model output is flirting with at the moment. This is a precipitation forecast based on that GFS 6Z run. Again, lots of rain come over the next few days. When we get through to the end of the week, you find some of that rain turn to snow
across Scotland. It's quite heavy snow in places too. And then on into Friday, a proper old deluge for England and Wales. Still some snow up over Scotland as well. And that snow continues into Christmas Eve around particularly northern England, southwestern Scotland, possibly into Northern Ireland as well. Rain further south, of course, snow showers to the north about. Christmas Day, we've got some snow through Northern Ireland, we've got snow showers through northern parts of Scotland. Elsewhere, quite a lot of dry weather. Some of that snow turns quite heavy on Christmas Day across Northern Ireland. Could be Belfast, could be the place to be this year. Get a little bit of snow on Christmas Day. And then on Christmas night, that snow turns heavy over parts of northern England as well. My good friend Richard in Redcar, Richard Shaw. Maybe Richard's going to get a white Christmas night. Beyond that, into Boxing Day, snow showers then in the far north, round the coast. Otherwise, lots of dry weather. Of course, we then start drawing in the wind from the east, and that will start to bring precipitation in from the east. Doesn't show all that much, but of course, it's not going to pick up snow showers at this sort of time away, 10 days out. And the cold spell carries on, you know, right way to the end of January, really. Oh, wow, that was big. What are we doing? Gav? That was a midnight run. Oh, gosh, I'm getting myself muddled up. I thought it should have been more wintry. But that, what's going on? Right, we'll do that again, man. It is a thing with these midnight and 6 cent, 12 cent, 18 cent precipitation forecasts. Right, well, let's do that again then. So, this is the precipitation type forecast based on the 6 cent. My video's fallen apart, hasn't it? Oh, well, let's try and get rid of that as well. Right, my video's fallen apart. Right, okay, here we go then. Well, lots of wet weather to come over the next few days. And then we get into Friday, heavy snow there across parts of Scotland, a deluge, England and Wales, very wet for England and Wales, snow up over Scotland on the eve of Christmas Eve. That is Christmas Eve on the GFS 6Z. Again, snow suggested for Scotland. And some quite significant snow in places as well. Right, now we're into Christmas Day with GFS 6Z, playing snow over Scotland, and a little bit of winteriness in parts of northern England and also into Northern Ireland on Christmas morning. Definitely the focus is in the north for the snow showers on Christmas Day. Nothing much happening down south into Boxing Day. Again, maybe a little bit of rain, sleet, snow, far south, southwest, otherwise snow showers in the north, otherwise very quiet. And then after Christmas, oh drought, let's get rid of that again. Then after Christmas, we start going into the cold easterly winds, and they bring in the snow showers. Right, this looks more like it, doesn't it? With those easy winds bringing bitterly cold air in from the east, we find snow showers coming in from the east as well. And then that will take us into the new year when wind turns back into the north again, and we renew the northerly, and so shall start pushing down from the north this time. Then we bring that area of low pressure in from off the Atlantic. That brings rain and snow in from the Atlantic as well. So all looking very wintry with the GFS 6Z. Right, we passed that. Thank goodness. If you're enjoying the video, please do like, share and subscribe. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. Drop a comment and let us know what you think about this and all of our videos. We thank you so very much, everyone, for doing that. Right, GM, again, with low pressure being unsettled weather on Thursday into Friday. Got this area of low pressure. That brings a deluge. From Friday into Christmas Eve, cold air getting into Scotland, could turn some of that to snow. Christmas Day takes that low pressure away. We build a little bit of a ridge across the country. That is within pretty cold air as well, so we do have a cold start Christmas Day. But by Boxing Day, we're drawing up those southerly southwesterlies again as we get into Boxing Day. So milder air pushing northwards, and then turns very mild, exceptionally mild maybe between Christmas and New Year. So forget all of that we just saw with the GFS. The GM is drawing up these really mild, if not warm, southerly southwesterlies between Christmas and New Year.
before eventually we get to day 10, probably pushing a cold front across the country and beginning to lower the temperature. It's a real puzzle, this, isn't it? So much divergence within the model output for Precipitation. It all seems very, very, very similar to last Christmas, I have to say. This is like deja vu with these models, you know. They seem to know, don't they? But it's Christmas, everybody's interested. And, you know, they start messing about. I get real Christmas 2021 vibes about all of this. Right, ECM, again, looking really unsettled on Thursday and into Friday as well. That takes us into Christmas Eve. Below pressure is more towards Northern Ireland, so just a further north Scotland with cold air then. However, after that, take the low pressure to the east, we start to pull cold air in from the north. So the ECM has actually trended a little bit colder today, around and after Christmas. We begin to pull some cold air down from the north, and then we build up this ridge of high pressure within that cold air. We do actually get minus 10 Celsius isoform down to southern Scotland on the ECM by 28th of December, so it's only properly cold there in that area of high pressure after Christmas with the ECM. This is a precipitation forecast based on that ECM run from Meteo.com. Plenty of rain coming and going over the next few days. Most the deluge on the East Sea. Some of that does turn to snow as it bumps into the cold air, especially through the far north England and into Scotland. A little bit of winteriness for Northern Ireland as well. That's Christmas Eve, so snow from the far north of Scotland, otherwise showers along the spells, rain, little bits of winteriness over higher ground. Christmas Day looking quite wet there for England and Wales with outbreaks of heavy rain. Meanwhile, snow continues across parts of Scotland. And then after that into Boxing Day, that cold northerly wind returns and showers turn increasingly to snow, especially in the northern half of the country before it turns mostly dry. These are the options on the table within the ECM ensembles today for day 10. This gets us to the 29th of December. 30 members of the ECM ensembles with high pressure in the Atlantic. Low pressure is away to our north and northeast, trying to get wind into the north. And then we've got 21 with a mid-Atlantic ridge up towards Greenland, low pressure over Scandinavia. That's trying to bring down a cold northerly. There is a complicating factor, which is this ridge over France. In 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. This gets us to the 3rd of January. 15 members of the ECM ensembles looking relatively mild. Low pressure to the west, high pressure to the east, and that's still drawing up wind from the southwest probably. 12, though, look cold, high pressure between Iceland and Scandinavia. That will have a wind in from a cold easterly. For the new year, 7 just here, also looking cold, low pressure to our east and northeast, high pressure to our west and northwest. That will bring down a cold northerly. We've got 6 with extensive North Atlantic blocking going back to Greenland. Low pressure to the east, so that also looking cold. Winds in from the north and from the northeast. 6 with low pressure between Greenland and Scandinavia. High pressure in the Atlantic. Winds kind of in from a west-northwesterly direction. That's a little bit of a mild option. And then 5 with high pressure towards Scandinavia and winds coming in from an easterly direction with that. So although the majority option here, the 15, is the mild option, actually if you put like the 12 and the 7 and the 6 and the 6 and the 5 together, it looks as though the ECM ensembles are probably going to get quite cold weather into the start of January, to be honest. That is probably, you know, the favourite outcome. They just differ slightly in how that cold weather is delivered. Very interesting. Right, CFSV2 lastly, these are 500 millibar high tolerance breakdown into week periods. The first week period will take from the 19th to 25th of December. So low pressure, of course, is in controlled weather. There will be plenty of wind and rain to come. Week 2 looks strange. It's the 26th of December to New Year's Day. So we've got a big mid-Atlantic ridge going back towards northern blocking, but we've also got this high pressure over the Mediterranean. And so we've got 2 areas of high pressure trying to do 2 different things. The block wants to bring down those cold northerly and northeasterly winds again. The high pressure over Italy and in the Med wants to keep the southerly Southwest, you go in between. They're probably going to be a divide. There might be funny games on that. Week 3 is going to be the 2nd to the 8th of January. Low pressure then is in control of the weather. So that's going to be relatively mild and unsettled, I suspect. And week 4 also looks unsettled and mild. It's the 9th to 15th of January. Low pressure out to west and winds coming in from off the Atlantic Ocean. Given how much uncertainty we have, just like 5 or 6 days away, I suspect we shouldn't be worrying too much about the 2nd week of January at the moment. Right, we're done. If you enjoyed the video, please thank you, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. And why not drop a comment and let us know what you think about this and all of our videos. We thank you so very much, everybody, for doing this for us. That's it for today's video. So just don't come up tomorrow. We will have the 6 AM upload, the extended European outlook tomorrow as well, with the ECM model and 10 to 14 day as well. What's going to happen with these charts? You know, is the GFS 6 onto something? Is it just a one-off outlier? We'll see how that's looking tomorrow. I'll be back later on at 8 PM with our Monday evening live stream. So we're going to look at the 12s there with that, and we shall do ensembles watch. I shall see you then at 8 for that one. But for this video, that's all for now. And thanks for watching.